Happy HB90 Bootcamp kickoff call, everybody. I'm so very excited. I woke up this morning and I had these butterflies in my stomach and I was like, why am I feeling anxious? And then I realized I'm excited. I am so ready for Q2. I hope that you are too. I am so happy that you're all here. Hopefully, we will be going live here in 3 places. So I already see that there are a lot of people here on YouTube. But if you are watching in the alumni Facebook group or the March Facebook group, if you could just leave a comment and say, I can see you so that I know we're live everywhere. I also want to say that I have been on the phone with StreamYard tech support because my connection keeps saying it's unstable even if I'm plugged in, no matter what. So like right now it says that I'm unstable. So you might be seeing a little bit of pixelation or something might happen with that if we can't get a good connection going or something doesn't seem right or you can't see the slides. Then I'll re-record this afterward and I will post it to the group with a fresh recording. But I really love to do this live because there's a certain energy to us all being here together. Thank you guys so much. New group stream is good. Live on Sunday morning. It's Sarah. That's so cute. Hi, everybody. Welcome, welcome. So hopefully the stream will actually still be good. It still went well yesterday with Publish and Thrive, but I did everything I could. You may notice that I also changed my webcam. I'm trying everything I can. So we're just going to keep moving forward and hopefully the stream will work out and it'll all be good for us. But today we are going to basically go through a slide presentation where I'm going to hopefully get you super pumped up for everything that's coming in Q2. I am so excited for everybody that's here, both as an alumni. I know that some people here signed up in a previous course, but just didn't because of life have a chance to follow through with it. So welcome to you. Welcome to everybody who has just signed up for this course and to our alumni who are doing this multiple times or have been through this multiple times. The kickoff call is always just a little bit different, but for the most part, it is the same idea of really and truly, what can you do to change your life? So I'm going to kind of make myself smaller and we're going to switch to this. And like I said, if there becomes anything wrong with the stream, just roll with it. Try to keep a positive mindset for tech support stuff. And if it ends up being hard to kind of see the slides, then I'll just re-record it and you can watch it later on the course website. Okay, so maybe you joined. I'm actually going to take myself off of this just for a minute so that you can see this full slide. Maybe you're here in the HB90 Bootcamp because your life looks a little bit like this. You are throwing spaghetti at the wall, hoping that eventually something's going to stick. You're just trying everything. You're completely overwhelmed by how much there is to do. So you never really know what to focus on. It's just everything has to get done. Maybe you're always feeling disappointed in yourself because you know you're not living up to your potential. And you're sitting there and you're saying, I know I'm capable of more than this. If I just had more time, if I could just get more done. Maybe you're so busy, but you aren't really seeing the results that you want. Maybe you're stuck or you're burned out or you're just plain exhausted. And so you certainly can't work towards your goals. Or you start and plan a lot of projects, but you never seem to finish them. This was pretty much the story of my life for a very long time. Or you're scared that if you don't start seeing results soon, it's just going to be too late for you and you're going to miss what you really wanted to create in your life. And that is terrifying. So the question is, pop myself back on the screen. How badly do you want to change your life? And this is a question that a lot of people tend to ask, and we think it's the right question, right? If I want it bad enough, if I'm determined to make it happen, then I should be able to do it by sheer force of will. I should be able to create that life. If I want it bad enough, I should be able to do it. And that pushes us into a hustle mindset of, I'm going to be late. I got to prove how bad I want it. I got to prove how much I deserve it. But it's really not about how badly you want it. Because let me tell you a little story. I had to go searching for a photo of myself from this time period. Different color hair, different glasses. This version of Sarah wanted it so badly. And I believed at the time that because I wanted it so bad, I had to work really, really hard for it. And I had to try everything. And that desire to change and to make my goals come true and to become a reality made me constantly feel like I'm not doing enough, comparing myself to other people, trying everything, just like a hamster on a wheel or like a, you know, chicken running around with your head cut off. This is what we say in the South a lot of times. It's just this feeling of like, I want to do it all the time. And so this woman sitting there, you maybe can't tell. It's a cute picture. It's fine. But you can tell in my eyes, if you really know me, that at that point, this was in 2016, this photo, I was like lights out. I was sleeping on the couch all the time. I couldn't hardly get out of bed sometimes. I was really, really struggling with my mindset. I was really struggling to write. I didn't even have a I had a son, but he was in school all day. So I didn't even have a, 2-year-old running around like I do now. I didn't have a YouTube channel. All I was doing was writing. And I was miserable because I was constantly feeling like, if you want it bad enough, that should be enough. I should be working harder. And I don't understand why I can't get it together. That's the state I was in. And I was so fed up with myself because I was busy all the time, but I never felt like it was enough. I always had a ton to do, but I was pretty much constantly disappointed in myself because I was always falling short of my goals and not following through with my plan. I also had way more to do than I could possibly fit into my available time. But because it all felt like it had to get done, it was all important. Instead of making like a realistic, imperfect plan where I just did one small thing and really bit off exactly what I could chew, I suddenly expected myself to become superhuman. Like, okay, I want it really bad. So I'm going to today's the day that I'm going to change. I'm going to be a fundamentally different person tomorrow. And in the truth, I ended up feeling like a failure. I felt like I was always disappointing people. And let me take myself off the screen again. I was scared I would never truly have or deserve the life and success I wanted. I was terrified I would be too late if I didn't start going faster. And I ended up wasting more time because that feeling of dissonance between I want it so bad to why can't I get it together and all the pressure I was putting myself, I really was asking an impossible task of myself. Like, here, do 5 months worth of work in 2 weeks. Nobody can do that. But I thought there was something fundamentally flawed about me. And because I was so stressed and burned out and frustrated, I ended up wasting my time and running around crazy, avoiding what I knew I needed to do, and then back in that cycle of being disappointed. And I kept asking myself, what is wrong with me? What is wrong with me? Why am I like this? Why can't I get it together? In short, I was constantly frustrated by this gap between where I was at the time and where I wanted to be. It felt like this giant chasm, like I'm going to have to change everything about who I am in order to be this person. And there were times, honestly, when I truly thought I would get myself pumped up. I can do this. And I would create a plan for exactly how I was going to change myself to be the person I needed to be. And then I would maybe follow through for a couple days. And then I would get frustrated by my lack of progress or my inability to get it all done. And I would be right back into depression. It just felt impossible. And I was trying so hard to close that gap and be the person that I wanted to be instantly. I wasn't giving myself time to evolve into her. I wanted it now, and it was exhausting. I constantly felt guilty, tired, overwhelmed, and truly scared that if future Sarah, this superhuman Sarah, didn't show up because she was the perfect version of me, if I could just become her or she would just show up for me, then I could do these things. But if she didn't show up soon, I was going to miss out on my biggest dreams in life. No pressure, right? But here's the thing. So often, these feelings of always being behind and always feeling overwhelmed come from a fear inside of us that if we don't do it all fast enough, we're going to miss out on the life we really wanted for ourselves. And the true paradox and weird thing about this is if we try to do it all at once, we're going to do nothing. We'd make zero progress. It's this weird mental shift. And I can tell you from the perspective of this version of myself back in 2016, it's not a matter of how badly you want it or how hard you work or how busy you are. That is not the solution. So, what if trying to do it all and trying to be this perfect version of yourself is what's actually holding you back? Just let that sink in for just a minute. What if it's not that you're flawed? What if it's not that you're not working hard enough or that you aren't talented enough or that you're too old or that you're too young or you don't have enough experience? What if that is not it? And you could let go of that pressure and that stress on your life. And instead, you could understand at a fundamental level that the truth of what's holding you back is that you are trying to do it all, thinking that that's the only way that you're going to deserve it or the only way you're going to get there. But I can promise you that is not the truth. And this course is going to give you a different way. So, what if you decided right now to show up just as you are? Not change yourself, not change who you are because you're not flawed. You don't need to change. You're exactly who you need to be. What if you just decide in this moment on this kickoff call and you say, I'm going to show up as I am with my current schedule where I don't have as much time as I wish I had, and I am going to show up right now because you're not overwhelmed because you're not doing enough. You're overwhelmed because you feel like you have to do it all. Goal setting with HB90 method is come as you are, not come as you think you should be. It is let's work with the schedule that you have right now, with the challenges that you have right now, with the health that you have right now. Let's show up exactly as your life is right now. And let's find a way to move forward toward that dream life. Many of you already started with your vision. I know we had several people that just joined today. So you, I realized I need to plug this in. Sorry, my computer. I was taking it all around the house to find a better location for my Wi-Fi, but now we are plugged in. But what if your vision that you put together today, what if that could be your life? Because I'll tell you something. I shared this. Sorry to disappear for a second. I'll kind of make myself big for a second here. I shared this on my coffee chat on Friday on my YouTube channel. This is a journal from that time in my life where I had that photo that I just showed you. And it is full. Okay, it's not full. I'm constantly starting journals and not finishing them. But the pages that are full are full of me doubting myself and saying how flawed I am. Why can't I get it together? But it also has an important thing here at the very beginning of the journal, which is a way that I've started lots of journals in my life. Oop, refocus, please. It's a clear statement of what I want my life to be. It is my version of a vision board in a journal. And everything that I put on this list back in 2017 has now come true, except one tiny part of it. But everything else is my life right now. And that is not because I worked harder. It may look from the outside, if you've been following me on YouTube for a while, maybe you look and you say, how is she doing a YouTube channel, 2 YouTube channels, and having a child at home and still writing books or doing this or whatever? But I promise you, it is not because I'm hustling harder. That version of me that you guys saw in that photo from before, she had so much really less on her plate in terms of compared to now, but she was busy all the time. and struggling all the time. And I'm not like that anymore. And it's not because I changed my life overnight. It's because of this type of system where you decide what you want, you get really clear about what you want and who you want to be and how you want to change. And then you just take tiny little baby steps. And I'm going to show you how to do that. But for one of the main things you need to think about is, instead of beating yourself up and trying to do it all and feeling like you're flawed, we need to come up with a realistic, focused plan instead. And that's what's going to change everything. So we had this list of before. These are all the places, all the reasons why you joined this course. But when you get moving with HB90, this is what it's going to turn into. Instead of throwing spaghetti at the wall, we're going to give you, and you're going to create a solid plan that works and gets results. It's not going to be a plan where you do everything. There's going to be some, for some of you, there will be a mourning process as you go through this plan, because you're going to have to realize you're going to have to drop a couple things, or you're going to have to take that thing you really wanted to do and push it to next year. But because of that, and because of the focus you're going to gain, you're going to actually see results. And instead of being completely overwhelmed by how much there is to do, you're going to still have a lot to do. I can't change that, but you're going to be in control of it. And you're going to be focused only on your list for this 90 days. And let me tell you, if you can really get to a point, it might take you a couple quarters before you start to feel it. So if you're an alumni and this is just going to be your second quarter, this is where you're really going to start to feel it. Once you have that plan in place, then you can just relax into it instead of hustling all the time and feeling guilt about the things that aren't getting done. And instead of feeling disappointed in yourself, you're going to start to feel really proud of yourself. And I'll tell you what happens too for a lot of people is you go through the quarter still feeling like you're not doing a lot. And then as you get to the end of the quarter and you start really doing the review and you start seeing and writing down all the things you did, there's going to be this overwhelming excitement of, oh my gosh, I actually did accomplish more than I thought. There's not a single quarter that goes by where I don't have people that post, oh my gosh, I got so much more done than I realized, because we're usually not in the process or the habit of actually giving ourselves credit for what we've accomplished. Instead, we just keep hustling, keep trying, keep working like we feel like, we have to get it perfect, right? So learning to let go of everything else and just say, wow, I'm giving myself credit for what I know I did and what I actually followed through on. Also, you're going to start to see your dream life coming into reality piece by piece. It's not going to just land in your lap. It may happen over the course of the next 5 years, but 5 years of focused work can change your whole life. My life is so different than it was 5 years ago in such a beautiful, amazing way. And things that I thought might never come to be have just become even more than I ever imagined because of tiny baby steps. Instead of not seeing results, the progress is visible, and you even have time to refill the well. Maybe you get to play your games or you get to read more. Some of that stuff might be built into your plan, that self-care and that joy time. You're moving forward with joy instead of being stuck or exhausted. You finish what you start. You see the next steps and your work is paying off. And instead of feeling like you're going to be too late, you start to realize that you are exactly where you are meant to be, and you are taking action and making it happen. Here's how we get from where you are now to where you want to be. So instead of living in fear and indecision, seek to clarify your dreams and move confidently toward them step by step. So often it's that fear that we're not doing the right things, that we're making the wrong choices, that we're going to take the wrong step that holds us back. So this is your chance to start getting really clear about what's your next step. What's your next best step? This is also your chance to decide what truly matters to you. And so I'm going to be challenging you in the next couple of days. Day 2, it already begins, day 2 tomorrow. What truly matters? What is really important, not only to you, but to the career and life that you want to create? because I would bet there's some of you that are doing a lot of things that really aren't going to move the needle or make a difference in that dream life, but you're doing it because you feel you have to, or because you feel obligated, or because you see other people doing it and you think you have to do it too. We're going to start to let some of that stuff go. This is one of the big ones. I'm going to teach you how to take these big, like, oh my gosh, vision, goals, and aspirations and break them down into small, achievable tasks. And we're going to aim for progress, not perfection, right? The HB90 method is not about being perfect or following my plan exactly. And let me tell you, this might be different for some of you that are used to teachers who tell you this is exactly how I want you to do it. Because I am never going to be that teacher who says, oh, don't listen to that other person who has good advice. I want you to do it my way. This is the way it has to be. I'm never going to tell you the only way you're going to be successful is if you have a Kanban board up on the wall, or if you have 3 big goals that are worded exactly this way. So as you go through the course, I want you to do it with a mindset of, oh yeah, Sarah told me that I don't have to do it exactly the way she does it. And I have freedom to just be a rebel and do it my way, because what I most care about is not my method or anything like that. What I most care about is your success and your ability to take what you learn from this course and make it work for you. So we are going to work through this with that mindset of, okay, this doesn't work for me, but I'm going to adapt it and I'm going to make it work in a different way. This class is more about learning a way to build positive momentum in your life by taking the tools you learn and making them your own. Gina Greenlee says, few experiences are more satisfying than becoming someone we always imagined we could be. And I feel like this is one of the greatest truths. And I know that it's so cheesy sometimes that we hear people say, it's the joy is in the journey, or it's not the destination, it's the journey. And we hear people say that all the time, but there's actual science out there that proves that we get more satisfaction from going after our goals than from actually achieving them. And I'll tell you, you can probably see this in your own life. If you've ever had a vacation, let's say, or a goal that you were heading toward, it's like when you experience that goal or that trip, or you buy that purse, or you finally get to buy that planner you loved, it's exciting that you have it. But sometimes there's also a little bit of a letdown of like, now it's here and now it's gone and it's over. Whereas sometimes the anticipation and the excitement and the planning and the saving for it and having that goal of someday I'm going to is more exciting and more satisfying than actually getting it in your hands for that one brief moment. So it's truly the journey. So every quarter you can begin feeling things that you wanted and that you put on your vision board. So let's talk about that vision. So hopefully, I know some of you literally just joined the class today, so you might not have had a chance. That's fine. You've got time today, tomorrow, as much as you need to work on it. But I ask you to do a vision board. And that vision board it doesn't have to be pictures like this if you don't want. It can just be a checklist, or like I had that I showed you, it could be a journal page that says, here are the 5 things I want most in my life. But this vision is so important. And if you can find images that evoke the feeling or the thing that you're going after, it is actually helpful. And this is your GPS system, your map. This is your guide to a happier life, not the achievement of these things, but the journey toward them, the satisfaction of taking a step every day to achieving that. And that is where the joy comes in for your vision board. If you don't know what you want, that's okay. Think about how you want to feel instead. Think about what type of lifestyle you want. Think about who you want to be or how you want to look, how you want to dress. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I need to be a New York Times bestseller and I want to have exactly this house and I want to write this genre, because you may not have all of those answers yet. But what you probably do know, if you start to imagine it, is how you want to feel in your life and who you want to be, who you see yourself as when you think of your best self. And like I said, it's not like anybody's going to snap their fingers and suddenly you become that person. The joy is in the journey toward becoming. But this is your GPS, because another thing that I firmly believe is that you go where you're pointed. And I have used this sort of analogy before, but if you are driving a car, right? And somebody says, "Oh my gosh, look at that beautiful building." And you go and look. Sometimes you might also kind of veer the car in that direction. If you were driving and you had to look this way the whole time, you would probably have a difficult time driving on the road correctly because you're not looking straight ahead. So think about your vision in this way, that you say, okay, I'm going to stop looking over here at where everybody thinks I'm supposed to be. I'm going to stop looking over here at where everybody else is. And instead, I'm going to take that vision of my life that I said I wanted, the way I want to feel, the way I want to be, all the things I want to accomplish or have in my life. That is what I'm going to look at with a singular focus. I'm going to point myself in that direction. And just simply doing that, making the choice and pointing yourself in that direction, is going to have a rippling effect on the rest of your life. Let your vision point you toward how you most want to feel. Now, this is something I haven't talked about before in the course, but I have been really wanting to mention it because it's fascinating to me. And I'm not going to go super deep into it because I don't understand all the science, but it's one of those things that keeps coming up. So I'm going to talk about it a little bit. So inside our brains, we have a system, basically a filtering system called the reticular activating system. And I first learned about this like years and years ago, but it didn't really click. And then I was taking a course called the Manifestation Babe Academy, and she talked about this. And then I was listening to Mel Robbins' book, The High Five Habit, and she talked about it too. And I thought, okay, this is something that's important and I need to pay attention to it because it's now come up in my life 3 times in the last year. But if you're not familiar with it, the reticular activating system is a part of our brains that basically filters things out because we can't even process everything that our eyes see and our ears hear. It's too much information. And if we let it all in, our brain would not know how to sort and process it. So yes, Mikkel, this is where we store the most important things. And the reticular activating system has a job where it says, I know what's most important to this person that I'm, helping to lead around in this universe. And so I am only going to let things through so that she can process or he can process that are important to her. This is why when you tell yourself that you're really interested in something, you start to see it more often. Or this is why, so for example, I had I don't know if you can see that because of this lighting. I had a experience with a dragonfly several years ago. And I've talked about it before on my YouTube channel. But before that, I didn't really think that much about dragonflies. Like I always loved butterflies, but I never really thought about dragonflies. But because I had this really like beautiful experience with a dragonfly, it suddenly became important to me. It became a sign in my life that things are going right. And then I need to think about my joy. And it always becomes like a wink from the universe when I see a dragonfly. So now, because it's important to me, I start to notice dragonflies everywhere. I see them when they're in a photo. I see them on planners. I see them on Instagram. Yes, Saja says, when I got pregnant, I saw babies everywhere. It's the same thing. I think the example that Mel Robbins uses is it's like when you start looking at a black Hyundai Palisade, suddenly everybody's driving a black Hyundai Palisade because you've been researching them all the time. Or it's the same way that when someone tells you about a certain TV program, like, ooh, have you seen Bridgerton? Because blah, blah, blah. Now you start to hear everybody's talking about Bridgerton because it was there before. The dragonflies were always there. But my brain didn't allow me to see them and notice them until I decided they were important. And the reason that I bring this up in the class is because This is why I want you to do a vision board. It is highly possible that part of the reason that you are feeling so overwhelmed and you feel like everybody else is doing better than you, or you feel like you're not doing enough or that you're not good enough, is because what you've decided is important, and what you've told your brain, your reticular activating system, is important to you, is to prove that you're behind, or to prove that it's too late to you, or to prove that you're flawed in some way or that you're failing. And so that's what you look for. Even though you're not doing it on purpose, you're looking for all the proof that you're not good enough, all the proof that you're not doing enough, that you've got too much, that you're never going to make these dreams come true because you don't deserve it. So when you see someone else that has the life that you want, often, and I'm not saying this is everyone because I know we're all different, but this is my experience, and I know it's the experience of many other people here, that when you see somebody that has something you want, you see it as proof that you're not going to have it. Whereas the truth is, if you can change the way you see it and start looking at all of those instances when you achieve something, when you finally follow through, and build that momentum as, this is proof that I can do it. This is proof that I should be here. This is proof that I can do it, and that these dreams can be mine. And, you see Brandon Sanderson have a Kickstarter where he makes $20 million, overnight or something. It's like, I know that it's not as simple as just deciding how you want to feel about it. But what I have noticed for myself is, as I begin to build positive momentum and I start to see my own dreams come true, when I see other people achieve, I start to see in my brain, oh, that's proof that I can do it too. That's proof that one step forward could lead me to that. It also acts in, looking at the positive instead of the negative. Exactly, Cecilia. It's proof every time you, he took your money, he took mine too. It's proof every time that you start to make a change in that Kanban board. Now, maybe you'll decide not to use Post-it notes. Not everybody does. Maybe you'll highlight something in a journal. Maybe you'll move something over on a Trello board. We'll get to that later. But what you're going to do in this course is you're going to teach your brain, you're going to show your brain, as you look at that vision board, these are the things that are important to me, not all this extra superfluous stuff that I keep thinking and comparing myself to others. These are the things that are important to me. Then you're going to set goals, and you're going to have this very specific list of tasks that you want to complete. And for many of you, they're going to be front and center up on your bulletin board or up on your wall, and you are going to be able to move them down. And every time you move that down the board to the done section, you are going to be able to say, that is proof that I can do this. And as you do that, this reticular activating system in your brain is going to show you more opportunities, more proof that you can do this. You're the one who tells your brain what's important to you. So when you have a clear vision that's important, you begin to see more momentum and opportunity. So that is what this is all about. It's not about clearing the board and being perfect. It's not about hustling harder and becoming this perfect version of yourself overnight. It's about proving to yourself and training your own brain to appreciate the steps that you take and to want to take more of them. Here's what our course schedule is going to look like. So for the second half of this presentation, we're basically going to talk about how the course is going to work. And I'm going to give you a few tips on how to make it through, because it is a boot camp. It's not supposed to be necessarily easy. It's supposed to be like a fast transformation for you. So it's going to take you through a lot of information very quickly. And there's going to be several days where I'm going to ask you to do, homework that's going to take you a little bit of time. So I want to give you some tips. So just to take you through how the course will work. Today is day one. It's picture your life, it's your vision, and it's the kickoff call. Yay. Day two is going to be all about priorities. So this is where you're basically going to make a giant brain dump list. Basically, you're going to challenge yourself to put all those things that you feel are important to you that you've wanted to get done on your list. Now, I will say, as questions come up throughout the course, feel free to ask them on the actual course website. In the comments, you have a place that you can ask questions. I'll be checking those throughout the day. You can also come into the Facebook group and ask questions there. You can email me, sarah@heartbreathings.com. Or if you are not on Facebook and you would like to join my Discord server, we also have a place called a Hearties Hangout over there that you're welcome to join. I don't know if I have that link for you guys up on the course site right now, but I will put it on the live kickoff call lesson as soon as this is over. Feel free to come join. My whole week is here for you. And even if you don't finish for a couple weeks, I will be available to you for questions. But some people like to use day 2 to organize their whole lives. So they'll put their house, their health, everything on the list. Even their day jobs will go on the list. Some of you might decide that you want to use your prioritization day only on your writing career or whatever career. I know some people here are not writers, but most of us are. So it could be just your day job. It could be your family. It could be whatever, but the choice is yours, how you want to do it. But I'm going to walk you through some of those possibilities. And you're going to decide what your priorities are. Day 3 is where we're going to get into some of the challenge with time. So day 3 is all about taking a realistic look at how much time you have. And so for many of you, this will be the beginning of the morning process, because it'll also be an aha moment for many of you, because you'll start to see, oh my gosh, look at how much I've been trying to do. And I only have this many hours per week. And last round, I introduced something called task blocks for the first time, and it's working great for some people, not working as great for others. So some of the videos for day 3 and day 5, I think it is, will be re-recorded to kind of accommodate some of the people it's not working as well for. But we're going to talk about some of those adaptations in just a second. Day 4 is where you set your goals. And depending on what your history is, I might be asking you to set goals in a very different way than what you've ever done before. So just make sure you watch all the videos. I'm going to give you alternative ways to word the goals and start thinking about them. And I'm going to walk you through that process. Then on day 5 is where we start taking those big aspirations and really bringing them down into smaller increments. So you're going to take those big goals. Think of your goal as like an umbrella. Then underneath that umbrella, you're going to have projects that are bigger. And then underneath the projects on day 6, you'll learn how to break those down into tasks. So you're going to have the big umbrella of goals, break it down into projects, which are going to be larger action steps, and then tasks that'll be tiny little things you can get done in a single 20-minute task block. That's also the day that we'll set up our Kanban board. And like I said, if you already know coming into it that you're like, ooh, all those Post-it notes on Sarah's wall make me feel crazy, then feel free to do something different. And I'm going to give you some examples of some different things that you can do. You can keep your list digitally. You can do checklists. There's lots of possibilities there. And then in day 7, we're going to learn how to follow through, because if you're anything like that 2016 version of Sarah, the system itself will be easier for you to follow through than hopefully anything you've done before. But I'm going to give you tips on how to follow through, because sometimes there's things that come up, like you've got your perfect plan and then you lose your job, or you have your perfect plan and you fall behind in week 2. How do you adjust when things happen, right? We're going to talk about that. Another thing that I wanted to talk about just briefly, because some people resist this, is why 90 days, Sarah? Why are we going to plan in 90 days? Why don't we just plan the whole year? Well, the biggest part of the reason is that 90 days is long enough to see results. If you do month to month, which you might decide to do that might work better for you. But for most of us, month to month doesn't give us enough time to tell if something's working. Like you could say, I'm going to try a new Facebook group. And it's going to be maybe something that you just barely get set up and get your branding done and get a few people that joined you for the first month. So how do you know if it's working yet? You haven't given it enough time to get the project done. Or it's, a book, you're trying to finish a book. Well, unless you're super, super fast writing, it's hard to do that. For many of us, including me, it's hard to do that even in 90 days. So I have to break those projects down even smaller than that. But quarterly gives you enough time to start to see results. But it's not so much time that you fall impossibly behind, because you get a fresh start 4 times a year. It's that new year feeling 4 times a year. So even if you totally fell off the rails, your quarter sucked and nothing went right, you got another fresh start coming up in July, right? So you've got all those different choices of, here's how I can change, here's how I can shift. And basically the flow and the way the process works is that you make your plan, you try everything, you follow through. And at the end of every week and the end of every month, you take a short period of time where you say, here's what's working, and you do a review. Here's what's working, here's what's not working, here's what I'm going to change to get better. And then at the end of the 90 days, you can evaluate, what did I get done? What worked? What didn't get done? What am I falling behind on? What did I just not care enough to work on? Or what am I resisting working on? And I'm going to ask you a lot of questions, right? And then you get to plan again and try again. So thinking through that process. And if you have, for some reason why 90 days isn't going to work for you, then feel 100% permission to totally change it. Use a different timeline. Don't use a timeline, and instead just do a review every month. And if you need help brainstorming ways to make it more accessible for you, then 100% reach out, no problem. Is the vision board focused on Q2 only, or your entire life? I'm going to talk about that in just a second. But that's why I like 90 days, because it gives you that chance for a fresh start and that review without getting too crazy. I would fall so far behind by February that my whole year would be off. So I'm excited for fresh starts. So here's some key things to remember. What I would love for you to do is to keep your vision of your ideal life front and center. Now, good question, because do you have to do the vision just for what you want to accomplish this quarter? Or do you want to do it for your whole life, or just for 2022? You can do whatever you want. What feels good to you? What feels most aligned and most inspirational to you? And that is a good kind of question to keep on your mind throughout this entire course is, what do I feel is going to inspire me more or motivate me more? Because I feel like it can be very individual what inspires you or motivates you. For me, I love and get very inspired by all those Post-its on the wall. Some people don't feel inspired by that at all. They feel overwhelmed. So something different might work better for you. And I just want you to keep that vision of your ideal life front and center, and be always thinking, what is going to work best for me? What motivates me? And as you make decisions about your priority, keep coming back to that vision. But if you feel that just a quarterly vision is as much as you want right now, then that's fine. I prefer to do nothing that has a specific timeline to it. I don't necessarily say 2022, here's my vision board. I just say, here's my vision board for where I am right now in my life. This is what I want to accomplish and achieve, no matter how long it takes me. So mine are kind of more long-term, but you can totally do it whatever way you feel most inspired by. Another thing to keep in mind is that each day builds on the previous day. This course began as a 3-day course and now has become a 7-day course. And I have put a lot of time and effort into arranging it in such a way that you're going to be making decisions kind of the whole way through, but it's sort of like you're building a house. So don't get ahead of yourself by thinking, oh, I got to set goals. This is probably one of the big things that holds some people back, is like, you're already thinking about your quarterly plan, right? I gotta figure out my whole plan for Q2. And so by the time you start setting priorities tomorrow, don't start thinking about Q2. Just follow the process. Let me see if I can say that in a more clear way. For example, when people start working on their priorities tomorrow, sometimes they're already saying, well, let me use these priorities to start setting my goals and figure out what I'm going to put on my Kanban board. But that's getting way ahead of yourself. Every day builds on the previous day. So you're not going to start thinking about your goals really until you get to the goals day. So just try to think all I'm doing is the instructions that Sarah put before me. So for example, tomorrow, all you have to do is make a list of everything that you feel applies to that list, and that'll make more sense tomorrow. And then you're going to sort them and arrange them. And that's all you're going to do. You don't have to make any decisions yet. You don't have to decide your goals. You're not choosing which things you're going to do. So don't feel like everything you say is important. You have to put on your plan because we're not setting a plan yet. So just keep in mind that every day builds on the previous day. Sometimes too, things are going to feel a little bit repetitive. And if you are an alumni going through this again, you may decide that you don't want to write those projects down, so many times. You may just want to use your brain dump list from last quarter. Feel free to adjust it any way that you see might help you this quarter. And if you have questions, reach out. But what I want you to do is really trust the process. Trust that I'm guiding you in a way that is going to help you create a plan unlike anything you've ever done before. And as long as you trust it, you're going to feel better about it. Another thing is don't get so caught up in the details of the plan, like the details of how I'm telling you to do the plan, that you miss the freedom that it offers. So remember how I told you Sarah is never going to be the teacher that tells you have to do it exactly the way that I say. So don't get caught up in the details. Like I'm going to have some things that are like asking you to take your calendar and time block it. Well, maybe time block doesn't work for you. Maybe that just makes you feel out of control. That's fine. You do not have to follow every single detail. Feel free to adjust it. You don't have to be perfect. Nobody's going to judge you. No one even is going to sit there and grade your paper or anything like that. You just have to show up. You just have to show up. Keep an open mind. Remember, please, I just want to stress this. You can literally adapt anything in this course to your personal needs. Part of the reason that I do a separate Facebook group for new students versus alumni is because alumni have often so greatly adapted things to themselves that if you went into the alumni group and said, hey, how do I do this? Or I'm trying to find a way to do this, you might get a lot of different answers that are not the core system. So I really want you to get the core system this first time through and then begin to adapt things. And then as you move into the alumni group later this week, you'll get an invite to that on Saturday. Then you can start to figure out how to adapt things. But the details of how to go through everything sometimes can make people feel frustrated. But I promise you, this is something that you can adapt. Every single piece of it can be adapted. So if something feels overwhelming, find a way to simplify it and just trust that as you work the process, it's going to start to make a lot of sense. My intention is for you to feel empowered, not overwhelmed. I do not want you to feel overwhelmed. Sometimes though, because you're going to be making a lot of decisions in these first few days, it's going to feel a little bit overwhelming. So here's what I want you to do. If you start to feel overwhelmed, think about simplifying it and how you can do that. Like, for example, if the vision for your life feels too big, like, I don't even know what I want, in the future, then step it back. What about just creating a vision for this year or just your vision for Q2? How can you simplify it instead of having to find all these photos that perfectly show you what your life is like? Just make a checklist. Here's the things I know that I want. I want to feel more at peace. I want to feel less anxiety. I want to finish my book. And maybe that's as simple as your vision board is just a checklist that says that. I know I want to finish my book, and that's okay. That is enough. Time blocking, like I said. So we're going to do something. I've introduced something to the course this year called task blocks, which really breaks your time down into 30-minute chunks. And for some people, this is too much math or it's too rigid. Like you don't know how much time you're going to be able to spend on Tuesday. And that's fine. If it doesn't work with your schedule or your personality, or it's too much math or too much confusion, no big deal. truly, truly, just go ahead and take a deep breath and say, no big deal. Just decide an overall estimate for the week or quarter and use that instead. And I'll give you some alternatives in the course material. Just take it one day at a time as you start to work your plan in Q2. There are no rules here. It's just absorb what feels good and then execute in a way that feels best for you. There's no rules. There's no right or wrong. What if 3 goals are too much right now, or you don't like the way I tell you to word the goals? That's fine. Just pick an important project and start there. Anything that starts to make you feel overwhelming, it's okay to simplify it and back off from it. And if you don't know how, because you're just in the moment and it's making you feel really stressed, there's nothing wrong with you. I promise. Just come reach out. Say, Sarah, this is making me feel like I don't know what I'm doing. How can I simplify this? And I will give you lots of choices of how to simplify. So reach out. I'm here for you. Another thing to keep in mind, though, is that you literally cannot get it wrong. You cannot get it wrong. There's no way to fail this. There's no way to do it the wrong way. Just follow the instruction every day and you're going to be great. This method also gets more powerful the more you use it. So start simple if you need to, but every quarter, like for those of you who are alumni, this is your second quarter doing it, your third quarter. Some of you, it's your third year doing it. It gets more powerful the more you use it. Why? Because you get to adapt it more and more. And I'll tell you, I have never, still to this day, cleared my entire board and finished every single task, but I almost always hit my goals. And that is just proof that we don't have to be perfect to move toward our dreams. I don't finish all my tasks, but I still hit my goals. That's pretty powerful. And it just gets better every quarter. So we're going to wrap up with these few thoughts. You don't need more time to make your dreams come true. I know that some of you sitting here are working with less time than you wish you had, and maybe that's a huge understatement. Maybe you have so much on your plate, or you have health issues, or you have stress issues, or you have a full-time job and kids at home, or you have a parent that you're caretaking for. Everybody has their own story. And I know there are many of you that feel like you just do not have the time to make your dreams come true. But I truly believe that you wouldn't be dreaming it if it wasn't meant for you. And this is a core belief of mine. If you dream it and you want it, it was meant for you and you can have it. And that means you can have it with your current time. It's not about trying to do it all. It's about taking the time that you have, very little, even if it's just a couple hours a week, and making the most out of that time. And that's what I'm going to teach you how to do. You aren't feeling this way, hamster in a wheel, throwing spaghetti, feeling exhausted and burned out because there's something wrong with you. You are exactly who you need to be. 100%, no doubts in my mind. You're feeling this way, maybe for a variety of reasons, but probably mostly because you're trying to put so much on your plate that it's humanly impossible for you to do it all. And we blame ourselves for that. But there's nothing wrong with you. You have the resources. You have everything you need. So trust yourself that you can do this. And if you move into this course with that level of confidence, you're going to see big results. You're about to make huge progress towards your dream life. If you take a tiny bit of momentum each quarter, you can start to see huge progress. Another important thing is to know that you have lifetime access to the course. So if this is your very first time you've ever taken the course, then you're on what they call a drip schedule, meaning that you have day 1 is unlocked, tomorrow day 2, the next day 3. But once the whole course is unlocked, You have access to it anytime. So you want to come back to it in a month, you want to come back to it in 6 months, you want to come back to it in 2 years, it's totally yours. Okay? You have lifetime access and there's no such thing as being behind. So just don't let this become another reason for you to be down on yourself or beating yourself up. You have the time you need. So trust yourself, work the process, and don't worry if it takes you a month to get it done. You're fine. So at the beginning, I asked you, how badly do you want to change your life? That's not the question. The question is not how badly do you want to change your life? The only question to ask yourself right now is, are you ready? Are you ready? Because I am going to show you a path that you can adapt, that you can change, but that will help you learn how to decide what you want, set a goal, figure out what projects you can reasonably and realistically achieve with the time that you have available, and then break those projects down into achievable, simple, one at a time tasks. And as you begin to move through those tasks, you will begin to change your life for the better. And I'm going to be here with you every step of the way. I mentioned this before, and I think somebody said I'm glowing. I am glowing. It's this, I guess it's the sunlight. I'm just positively radiating from joy of being here. So I don't know why it's doing that. It was not doing that when I first started, but maybe the sun has shifted. So I tell people this, I've told people this the last couple of times, and it seemed to mean something. So I really, really wanted to say it again for everybody who is new, because it absolutely comes from my heart. When I say that I want this course to make you feel empowered, I mean it from the core of my heart. Every single person that signs up for this class, I get an email on my phone, or, a little notification that says, so-and-so has signed up for the course. And every time over the last couple months, as people have been joining through the Thriving Author Bundle or through HB90 on the course site, when I see your name, I say a quick little prayer to the universe, and I say, oh, I'm so glad they're here, and I hope they get exactly what they need from this. And that becomes my prayer, because I wanted and felt like that person, that version of Sarah that you guys saw from 2016. One of the things that she wrote down in that journal that I have right here is just that someday I wanted to have courses for authors and people like me to help inspire them, because I felt like, I know not everybody's an author here, but I felt like in the indie industry, there was so much issue with comparisonitis and so much issue with reasons to be down on ourselves, because we're doing so many different things to try to be successful. We're wearing so many different hats. And even if you're Tribe Pub, it's the same way, social media and marketing and this and that and this. And I felt like there were so many people out there who needed a message of, you are okay and you are exactly where you need to be. And if they could have that support that they needed and that community, then they could achieve everything they had and they wanted to do in life. And that was my dream back in 2016, 2017. And here I am getting to live it out. So you guys are my vision board. Everybody here is part of my vision board, because I feel like I want to see you succeed more than anything. And I know I'm going to. As you move into the alumni group later this week, I'll be posting a accomplishments thread, and everybody will get a chance to come on and kind of blow their own horn there a little bit and say, here's what I got done this quarter. Here's the things that I accomplished. And you'll be blown away by some of the things: publishing deals, making more money than they ever have, buying their dream house, getting their health together and finally writing their first book. Like, there are so many things that begin to come together for people, and you're going to be one of those success stories. not because you wanted it so bad and like worked your butt off the whole time to do it and you were perfect and you never made a mistake and you showed up every day and woke up as this perfect version of you. That is not reality. The reason these alumni and the reason I am sitting here making these dreams come true and turning these vision boards into reality is because we showed up exactly as we are, with all our flaws and all our limitations and all of our, trauma and our past and our baggage. We showed up as we are and we decided what we wanted and we moved forward one tiny step at a time. And everybody in this class has had moments, quarters, days where we couldn't do it, where we couldn't even move a single sticky note. And you know what? At the end of the quarter, we still realized we had gotten something done. We had moved forward towards that dream life. Because here's the thing, when you're trying to do it all, you might not really be moving anywhere. You're just on that treadmill. But when you know exactly what you want and you have that clear vision, even just moving 5 sticky notes from all of those, 100 that you put up there moves you forward. And that's what your focus can now be on, is that positive momentum toward your dream life. So if you have not done your vision board, now's the time, get it done. I think I had mentioned it before that I mentioned in the Facebook group anyway, that the course each day drips, like the drip schedule opens at 00 UTC, which means that if you are in the US, your course will actually open up at like 7 p.m. Eastern time for you, or even earlier over on the West Coast. So just a little FYI that it really won't be but a few hours until day 2 opens if you want to get anything done a little bit early. But that's to accommodate our overseas, students. Yes, I love that framing. We can be perfectly imperfect and still succeed. You can have days where you just can't show up at all. You can have days where you don't even know if you want to do it anymore. And then you can still be successful. So what this is about is letting go of that need to be perfect, to know everything, to get it all done exactly, or to be this perfect version of yourself. Come as you are, show up when you can, do your best, and still see all your dreams come true. It is my promise to you. And I'm here with you every step of the way. Thank you guys so much for being here. I hope the stream, I know I kept getting this message, so I hope the stream still turned out okay for you all. And this will be available for you to replay anytime, even if you just want to find some parts that you felt were inspiring to you. It's going up on the if it's still going up on the course website for you, but it will also be available on YouTube to replay if you would like to. I love you guys. I am cheering you on. I cannot wait. Since you're here and I have you here also, I just wanted to just take a moment to introduce you to Renee Barrett. She is going to be starting tomorrow as my new operations manager. She is an alumni of this course and she is a part of our community, but she also turned out to be the best person for the job. So she'll be working full time with me starting tomorrow. So you might see her answering some questions in the Facebook group, sometimes as Renee, but also sometimes as Team Sarah. You'll see her commenting under that page. She also might be answering some of your emails. So get to know Renee. She is one of us and she's going to be amazing as a touch point for you as well. All right, you guys, I love you so much. I will see you in the Facebook group. And please, I know that I've gotten several emails this weekend already that are people like, I know you're super busy and I don't want to bother you. You are not bothering me at all. I am 100% here for you guys this week. I have set aside the time on my plan to be here for you this week. So never feel like you're bothering me and I will get back to you as soon as I can. All right, you guys, I love you. I'm cheering you on. Let's plan our dream lives together. All right. Have an amazing rest of your Sunday and I will see you guys in the class. Bye.